So we have negative 3 squared, which is 9, because a negative by a negative is a positive. Let me remember that squared means multiply by itself, right? Negative 2 squared is 4. 9 and 4 is 13. Number 2, what is the value of the digit 6 in the number 48.621? So this 6 here is 6/10, which is written as 6/10. Number 3, what number when added to 1 unwanted gives 2? What number when added to 1 unwanted gives 2? What number when added to 1 unwanted gives 2? So we either know that in order to get to the next whole number, we'll have to add 2/3, or we work out what 2 take away 1 unwanted is, because we have one of the addition numbers missing, what we call the addendum, right? So the answer is 2/3. You would have had to have known that 2/3 plus 1/3 will give you a whole, and that whole together with 1 will give you 2. Or as I said, you work out 2 take away 1 and 1/3, right? 4, the next term in the sequence. So from 1 to 6, we add 5. From 6 to 13, we add 7. 13 to 22, we add 9. You would realize that we are adding odd numbers starting with 5. So 22 plus 11 will give us 33, and therefore our next addition will be plus 13, which would give us 46. Number 5, what is the least number of apples that can be shared equally among either 6, 10, or 15 children? Least to be shared equally among 3 options, either 6 children, 10 children, or 6 children, 10 children, or 15 children. That is another way of asking you to find the LCM, right? Now, we are looking for the lowest number that 6, 10, and 15 can go into. So instead of actually actively finding the LCM, we are going to just check our answers, right? So is 24 the LCM of 6, 10, and 15? No, because 6 could go into 24 without a remainder, but 10 and 15 cannot. So A is out. We check in 30. Can 6 go into 30 without a remainder? Yes. Can 10 go into 30 without a remainder? Yes. 15 could go into 30 without a remainder? Yes. So the answer is B. Remember, we're looking for the lowest common multiple. So even if 60 and 90 are both multiples of 6, 10, and 15, they will not be lowest, right? A certain amount of money is shared among Jay, Troy, and Jordan in the ratio 2 to 3 to 9. If Troy receives 40 more than Jay, then the amount of money shared is what? Okay. So Jay is 2, Troy is 3, and Jordan is 9. We have a total number of proportional, a total number of proportional parts of 2 plus 3 plus 9, which is 14. So we have 14 parts in total, right? Now, they said Troy received 14 more than G. Neither of that, saying that does not tell us how much Troy has or how much J has. It just tells us that Troy has 40 extra. So if Troy has 40 extra than J, it means that if you watch the ratio numbers allotted to them, 2 is J's number, 3 is Troy's number. There's a difference of one proportional part. So we may not need this 14. Actually, yes, we need the 14 part. So let me leave it. Right. J has one less part than Troy because it is as though we're going to take the money and divide it into 14 equal parts, and we're going to give J 2 parts, we're going to give Troy 3 parts, and we're going to give Jordan 9 parts, right? And when we do that, Troy is going to end up with $40 more than J. So between Troy and J, one part is the difference because one person got 2, next person got 3. And since they said that that extra was $40, that means one part is $40. So it means that all 14 parts will be equal to 14 by 40, which is equal to 560. So the 560 is the answer. Number 7, if P is equal to 2357, Q is equal to 236, and S is equal to 245, what is P union Q union S? Now, if it is union, it means you are collecting all of them together without any repetitions, right? So it is definitely 2, definitely 3, there's a 4, there's a 5, there is a 6, and there is a 7 in P, Q, and S, right? So our answer here would be D. Number 8 refers to the following Venn diagram. The shaded portion represents what? So this portion is everything shaded except the center, and we know that the center is P intersect Q. So if the center is P intersect Q and the center is not shaded, but everything else is shaded, that means they are trying to get the complement of this set, which is everything that is not in that particular set. Number 9, the elements of the set X such that X is between 6 and 10, where X is an integer R. Now I said between 6 and 10, but it is inclusive of 10 because of our less than or equal to sign here. When you have a less than sign on its own, it means exclude that particular extremity. But because this has a less than or equal to, we have to include the 10. So we are not including the 6, but we including the 10. So we started with 7, which means it means that B and D are out. These are out because it starts with 6. And you want to end with 10. So between A and C, C is the one that ends with 10. So you start with 7 and you end with 10 again because the less than sign that is there first tells you to exclude 6, but the less than or equal to sign that comes before 10 tells you to include the 10. Now it's good for you to know what is not the answer. So in case you cannot follow through with your thought process, at least if you have to guess, you would guess from answers that make sense, right? Item 10 refers to the following information: M is PQR, N is PQ. Which of the following statements are true about M and N? First statement, M is a subset of N. Is that true? Is the whole of M inside of N? No, so that's not true. M union N is equal to M. If I join M and N, I will get P, I will get Q, and I will get R. And P, Q, and R is M. So this is the answer here. Eleven. All students in a class play Scrabble or checkers, or both. If 36% of the students play Scrabble only and 48% of the students play checkers only, what percentage of the students play both games? Now, I think that there is a way, yes, there is a way to figure this out. Okay, so I'm going to go with the easy way instead of showing the Venn diagram. So all the students, oh, wait, hold on. I think I'm going to draw my Venn diagram. Okay, so we have a Venn diagram here. And let me just take this opportunity to remind you that if there's an intersection, which there is, because they say it's either plain Scrabble or checkers or both, which means the whole class represents 100%, right? We don't know the center. We don't know the center, right? We know, however, that if here's Scrabble and here's checkers, the 36% that play Scrabble only is here. And that is because this portion of this circle represents Scrabble only and not just Scrabble. Scrabble will be the whole circle. Scrabble only is the left side where they don't include the people who play Scrabble and checkers. Same thing with the checkers. The checkers is 48% only for checkers only, sorry. So that is 48 here, right? So 36 and 48 plus the center, who are the people who do both, will make up the 100%. So that's what I was going to do in the absence of drawing the Venn diagram. Add the two, I will get. Now you all can lay your question down where manually adding, right? So let me just do that. Let me just assume that everybody will know how to add 36 and 48 in the head. 6 and 8 is 14, 3 and 1, 4 and 1 is 8, and then 100 take away 84. 10 take away 4 is 6, 9 take away 8 is 1. The answer is 16. Number 12 refers to the following Venn diagram, which shows the universal set U, two sets T and C that represent students in a class who play tennis and chess. How many students play tennis but not chess? This Venn diagram is a subset Venn diagram where there are people who play cricket. All of the people who play cricket play tennis, but there are people who play tennis that don't play cricket. No, they want to play tennis, not me cricket. No, I want to cricket chess. If you are playing tennis, you are in the tennis circle. That's Ali, Alex, Kayla, and Tom. And inside the C circle, the chess circle are Paul and Rima. So Paul and Rima plays chess and tennis. But Ali, Kayla, Tom, and Alex don't play chess. They only play tennis. That's why their name is not in the center as well. So that's 4 people. They are in the tennis circle, but not in the cricket circle. Why am I keep saying cricket? Chess, sorry. All right. We're into the consumer arithmetic part here now. We've just finished number operations and sets. So we are and consumer. Address cost $180 and it's being sold at a discount of 10%. The amount of the discount is. Now, if this question comes back, it may come back exact or it can ask you for the final price of the dress. So just be careful with your reading of the question. A dress costs $180 and it's being sold for a discount of 10%. 10% instead of 100. Cross, cross, cross. Cross, you have $18 discount. If EC 250 is a US dollar, then EC 25 is US what? If you notice 250 compared to 25, that's a multiplication of 10 happening there. So then this US is $10. For every sale amounting to $1, a salesman is paid 10 cents as commission. If his sales for a particular month is 1020, how much commission was he paid? So we want to multiply 1,020 by 10 cents. And we just multiply by 10. So we'll get 10,200 and then we account for the cents. The cents would make us put our point right here. Right, $102. All right, we put a point here. We multiply with all the point first, of course, and then we put back our points. So that's $102. And what is the question? How much commission was he paid? So that is $102. Because the question could go either way. They could either ask how much commission he was paid or how much was his total pay. Again, read the questions properly so you'll know how much work you need to do. A man's basic wage for a 40-hour week is $160. He's paid overtime at a rate of 1.25 times the hourly rate. If he works for 6.5 hours overtime in a certain week, his wage for that week is what? So his basic wage is $160. We're going to add $160 to the overtime wage once we figure that out. He is paid 1.25 times our hourly rate. Now we don't know what the hourly rate is, but we could figure it out because if he gets paid $160 for 40 hours, that means let me write this a little differently. That means he's getting $4 an hour, right? And it means that 1.25, which is 5/4, times 4, it means that for overtime, he's getting $5 an hour because I just took the 1.25 and I multiplied it by our hourly rate. So in overtime, he's getting $5 an hour, right? Now, if he's working, so this is a way for you to do some multiplication without stressing yourself out. If he's working 6.5 hours of overtime for that week, then we could just say 6 times 5 is 30, and a half of $5 is $250. So that will give us a total of $32.50. And then we add in the 160 plus the 32.50 because they ask for the total wage. So you'll see and how I'm utilizing my space around the question to do my working, right? So that's 291, 192.50. A television set costs $350 cash. When bought on hire purchase, a deposit of $35 is required, followed by 12 monthly payments of $30 each. how much money is saved by paying cash. So cash price is 350. We're going to make a deposit of 35 and then 12 monthly payments of 30. So the 12 monthly payments of 30 will give us $360. And then the 360 plus our initial deposit will give us $395. And since our cash price was $350, it means that we would have saved $45 if we had paid with cash. Number 18, at the end of any year, a car is worth 5% less than what it was worth at the beginning of the year. If a car is worth $9,500 in December 2021, then its value in January 2021 was. So we are not going to depreciate this car by 5% because the car was worth this in December, so they want to know the value before it was depreciated, right? So the way to work this out would be for us to acknowledge that 5% depreciation is like taking 5% from 100%, which is because 100% would represent the initial value of the car. So that if the worth is going to decrease by 5%, that means it is now worth 95%, right? So the initial, well, not the initial, the value of the car at the beginning of 2021 would have been found by finding 95% of what the worth was in January. So now that we don't know that and we're trying to find that, what we have to do now is divide 9,500 by 95%, which is 9,500 over 1 times 100 over 95. This will cross to give you that. And 100 by 100 is $10,000. The other way to work this out, if you did not quite catch what I explained, or if you did not know this before, is you could have taken each of your answers. Me being somebody who trying to guess would have chosen 10,000 to work with first because everything else looking a little complicated. I would have found my 5% of 10,000 and then deducted that answer from 10,000. And if I got my 9,500, I would have known that, okay, 10,000 is the answer. You could try that with each answer, but as I say, and sometimes with all those zeros, 10,000 look like a kind of easy number to start with. And it will just so happen that our answer will just, be 10,000, the first number that we try. All right. So number 19, a loan of 15,000 was repaid in 24 equal monthly installments of 750. The total interest paid as a percentage of the principal was what? All right. So our loan was 15,000, so that's our principal. And we are paying it back in installments of 750. So we're going to multiply 75 by 24 to find out exactly how much money we paid them back. 5 twos are 10, 7 twos are 14 and 1 15, 5 fours are 20, 7 fours are 28, and 2 is 30. So this is 1,800, and therefore 750 times 24. We don't put it there. 750 times 24 is equal to 18,000. And That means we paid 3,000 extra because our initial loan is 15. And they want to know what is the total interest paid, which is $3,000, as a percent, as a percent of the principal. Of the principal goes below. Zeros, crosses zeros, this could go with that. 15 into 15, 1, 15 into 30 is 2, so that's 20. And that would give us 20%. I hope you all remember how to long multiply, yeah? At a sale, a discount of $3 off the original price was offered for each book. Daniel paid $46 for 2 books that had the same sale price. What was the original cost of one of his books? If Daniel paid $46 for 2 books and there's $3 off each book, it means he got $6 off the total price. So it means that the 2 books would have cost $52, and therefore one book would cost $26. You could walk it back and work it over. If one book costs $26 and you're getting $3 off, that means you're paying 23 for one and you're paying 23 for the next one. And both of them added will give you back a 46. Now, disclaimer, I don't know if this is a disclaimer, but if there's anything that you can work out here that is different from what I am doing, it is not mandatory that you follow my exact working. If you could come up with the answer in a different way that makes mathematical sense, feel free to do so. All right, this sheet is a little bit blurry, tiny bit. All right. It means that we have finished our we have finished our consumer arithmetic section. We are now on our algebraic section. Right. So we have 3x squared by 2x cubed. If you know your laws of indices, you would know we have to multiply the base numbers and add the indices. 2 plus 3 is 5. So our answer is A. If you do not know your laws of indices, you could have expanded this by saying that 3x squared, so I'm going to put that up here, 3x squared is 3 times x, and 2x cubed is 2 times x times x times x. When you put them all together to be multiplied, the 3 times 2 will give you the 6, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that'll be x to the 5th power, all right? If 5y, 5 into y minus 2 is equal to 3 into y plus 4, what is y? You have a choice to solve this or substitute each of the answers into the equation. All right. So let's solve. 5 by y is 5y. 5 twos are 10. 3 by y is 3y. 3 fours are 12. 5y, you bring the 3y across, you take away because this was positive. You bring the 12 down and then you carry the negative 10 or the subtract 10 to come across as plus 10. 5 take away 3 is 2, 12 and 10 is 22. y will be equal to 11 because 22 divided by 2 is 11. If you had to go through substituting each one into the answer, you would have had to literally like put -1 here, work out the bracket, and then do the same on this side. Put -1 here and work out the bracket and see if they equal to each other. And you'd have to do it for all of them if you think that you would have found the answer easier that way. Number 23, 7 times the product of two numbers A and B may be written as 7 is the number 7 times multiply. Product is not multiply as well. So the product of A and B, and you can simplify that to look like 7AB. So this is a translation of a statement into an algebraic expression. So you're changing all the word names to numbers, you're putting in the symbols and you're putting in the letters. Number 24 is a binary operation. So this one says 3 star X, I'm sorry, 3 star 6 is 3 and 2 star 4 is 0. What is A star B? What I really want to know is what would be the general rule for this star operation that would make 3 star 6 equal to 3 and what would make 2 star 4 equal to 0. What you would actually what I would do as quick as possible is test each of my answers, right? So I have 3 star 6. So starting with A squared minus B, which is A, is the first option. If I have 3 squared minus 6, that'll be 9 take away 6, which is 3. And then if I have 2 squared take away 4, that'll give me 0. Look my answer right here. That was a lovely surprise. So basically what I did is I used this as A and this as B. Well, I was proceeding to do it in each of the answers to see which one would have given me 3. If I do 3 and 6 as A and B, and which one would have given me 0 if I do 2 and 4 as A and B. And it turns out I got my answer on my first try because A is the answer. 25. If x is -2, y is 3, and t is 3, what is x over y to the t power? So substitution, x is -2 over y, which is 3, bracket, to the power of 3. So I'm saying both the numerator and the denominator are going to be raised to the power of 3. -2 cubed will give me -8. Because a minus by a minus is a plus, and a plus by a minus is a minus. All right? I should be saying a negative by a positive, but you know what I mean. So you'll get -8. And then 3 3s are 9, and 9 3s are 27. So it's -8 over 27. I want all you to notice that one of the answers is 6 over 9, which is 2 times 3 and 3 times 3. So they're testing to see if you know that if you put to the power of 3 up here, that you know it means multiply by itself 3 times as opposed to multiplying by 3. Right? 26. If 1 over 3 to the 2x is 9, then the value of x is. Now, I know how to work this mathematically, but again, this is another question where you can substitute each answer and see which one gives you the 9, right? So working wise, 1 over 3 to the 2x is 1 over 3 to the negative 2x. I said something wrong. 1 over 3 to the 2x is 1, sorry, I'm saying it again. 1 over 3 to the 2x is actually 3 to the negative 2x. That's what I meant to say. And 9 is 3 squared. Once these base numbers are the same, I could just ignore them and deal with the powers only. So negative 2x will be equal to 2. And that means x is equal to negative 1. So that's working wise. If you want to work it the other way, you can take each one, and again, we would be very lucky because it will turn out to be the first one. Take each one and then go like this, 1 over 3 to the power of 2 times negative 1, right? That will give you 1 over 3, hold on. All right. 1 over 3 to the negative 2, which is equal to, and this is the part where some of you might have gotten a little confused if you're not familiar with the indices laws, because this is 1 over 1 over 3 squared. Because anything to the negative power is 1 over that base number to the positive power. So this would be 1 divided by 1/9, which is equal to 9. So either way, if you're not familiar with laws of indices, you might come into some problems there, but if all you remember, like the question and the answer that goes with it, I guess it'd be okay. Matrices time, we're finished with algebra. 27. If A is 1, 3, negative 3, 3, 0, 5, then 3A is 3 times every number in that matrix. So you are looking for 3, 9, and negative 9 at the top, which the only answer that has that is 8. So in this case, you didn't even have to multiply everything, because once you multiply the top row, you'd realize that A is the only answer that has that top row. If you're feeling doubtful, multiply 3 by the bottom row and you would get the 9, 0, and the 15. Number 28, the determinant of the 2 by 2 identity matrix is the 2 by 2 identity matrix is 1, 0, 0, 1. It is a matrix made up of zeros and ones, where the first row is 1, 0, and the next row is back to front 0, 1. And well, you all know how to find the determinant. We're multiplying 1 by 1, and we're taking away 0 by 0, and we will get 1. And I think this is something that is learnable, huh? Don't always have to work it out. 162 by 2 identity matrix, the determinant will be 1. I think that is something that you could learn off instead of having to work it out. All right. Next question. Factor the following. Item 29 refers to the following vectors P and Q. The vector P take away Q is represented by what? P take away Q is 3 take away minus 2, which is 5, and 7 take away 5, which is 2. So 5, 2 is what we're looking for here. And they are bargaining on the fact, if you watch answer A and answer D, they're bargaining on the fact that you don't know that 3 take away minus 2 is actually 3 plus 2. All right? Because you're seeing that A and D have 1 on top, because in haste, you might say 3 take away 2 is 1. Right? Next question. Item 30 refers to the following parallelogram y, w, x, y, z. In the parallelogram, vector xy is u and vector xw is v. R is the midpoint of y, z. RW expressed in terms of u and v is what? To get from R to W, I have to go from R to Z. RW equals RZ plus ZW. So you're finding a triangular path to get from one point to the next, right? You're watching the direction. So all those things I said were true, it's just that I did it back to front for some reason. So to go from R to Z is actually going in the direction of this V here. So if this is V, then here's also V, and that means that RZ will be half V. So we're looking for the answers that have half V in it, which is positive a half V. So the C and the D out. And then you are adding C to W. So Z to W is going, so we want to go R to Z and then Z to W. Z to W is going opposite to this. So even though it will be the same U, because we want to go this way, we have to put a negative U. Right? Okay, I tried to get rid of this, right? So to put negative U. So which one has the negative U in it with the half V? That will be A. Next, given that 1 millimeter is 1 over 1,000 meters, then 2,500 millimeters in meters will be. So we're going to put 2,500 over 1,000. And this is just a simple conversion. So if you already know that there are 1,000 millimeters in a meter and you know how to convert it, you don't necessarily have to use this. You could just convert it, right? 25 divided by 10 is 2.5. The other way to do this is because you know that you're divided by 1,000, you just take your end, which is where your point is, and you jump back 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Number 32. Excuse me. The length of the edge of a cube that has a volume of 27 cubed is what? Remember, a cube, well, the volume of a cube is side by side by side. So you really want to know which one of these numbers here, when you multiply by itself 3 times, will give you 27. The answer will be 3. Number 33, the perimeter of a square is 48 centimeters. What is the area? If the perimeter of a square is 48 centimeters, then the side of the square will be 48 divided by 4, which is 12. And then the area will be 12 by 12, which is 144. Item 34 refers to the following diagram of a trapezium PQRS, which has an area of 65 centimeters squared. The height h of PQRS is what? Okay, so the area of a trapezium is in your formula sheet. It is a half the sum of the parallel sides, which they call A and B in the formula, multiplied by the height. And they're saying that this area is equal to 65. So 8 and 18 is 26. Well, 26 is half of 26 is 13. So 13h is 65. So h will be 65 divided by 13, which is 5. Again, what you could have done, no, well, I think that would have been too much work. Yeah, but you have to do it this way. Yeah, the way might have been too much work. I think this is, yeah. Something went on just. All right, 35 refers to the following diagram, which shows a sector of a circle AOB. Angle AOB is 60 degrees and the radius OB is r units long. So the length of the arc is going to be theta over 360 times 2 pi r. So you see all the answers are in terms of pi and r. So the theta in this case will be 60. So you're crossing, you have 6 into 6, 1, 6 into 36, 6, and then 2 into 2, 1, 2 into 6, 3. So you'll end up with 1 over 3 pi r, and that is A. Item 36 refers to the following diagram, which shows a compound shape made up of a rectangle and two identical semicircles, one on either of the short sides. The area of the compound shape above in terms of pi is what? All right, so the area of the rectangle in the center, hold on, but there isn't much information number-wise. What will have to happen though is this distance here would be our radius, right? And same thing with here. And the 27 take away 15 is 8. Yeah? Is it? No. 27 take away 15 is 12. Yeah, 12, sorry. Right? If the difference between these two lengths are 12, then that means here is 6 and here is also 6. So r is 6. Right? Pi r squared will give us the area of the whole circle, which we would get if we put these two semicircles together. So that's pi by 36, right? So we have 36 pi so far. And then we have, this is so interesting. We have the length of the center triangle times the breadth, which will be 6 as well. Because if here to, actually no, not 6. Not 6, it would be 12. If here to here is 6, and this is our radius, then this is also a radius here. And that makes this a diameter. So the radius is 6, then the diameter is 12. And 15 12 is 180. So the area is 180 plus 36 pi. But our answers, they are in terms of well, they look like they've been factorized. So if we factorize this, the highest number that could go into 180 and 36, I believe, is 18, or is it 36? Let's just say we didn't know and we choose 18. So let me say we have 18, that is 18 into 10 plus 2 pi. So as a rule with factorization, if you um still end up with something in the bracket, an expression in the bracket that still has common factors, it means you didn't fully factorize it, right? So for 10 and 2, there is a common factor of 2. So if you pull the 2 out, that will make outside become 36. And well, 2 into 10 is 5, and 2 into 2 is 1. Right? Or if we had chosen 36 from the beginning, 36 by 5 would give us the 180, and 36 by pi is 36 pi. So we're looking for 18, not 18, 36, open brackets, 5 plus pi. So I'll be here. Is the 7. The area of a rectangle is 40 cm. If the length is multiplied by 4 and the width is halved, then the area would then be what? Okay, so if it's already 40 centimeters, that means the length times the breadth is 40, right? Now they're saying if they multiplied the length by 4 and the width is halved, which means that it's half of the width. Well, I have breadth there, but it's really supposed to be width, right? And really doesn't matter, right? Then you'll see the length by the width there, which is area, and then you'll see 4 by a half. And remember, multiplication is commutative. It really doesn't matter what order you put it in. I could write this back as length by width, which is area, times 4 times a half. And a half of 4 is 2. So technically, if if the area, which is length by width, is 40, and then they say we multiply the length by 4 and we half the width, that is same as multiplying by 2. So 40 times 2 is 80. Hey, what's going on there? Next question. Item 38 refers to the following diagram, which shows a compound shape that comprises a triangle resting on a square of side 5 centimeters. If the total area of the compound shape is 35 centimeters, then the height of the triangle is what? So square is 5 by 5, which is 25. And the total area is 35, which means that the area of the triangle is 10 centimeters, because the 10 centimeters squared coupled with this one will give us the total 35, right? And if this is a square with side 5, it means the base of this is also 5. So remember, area of a triangle is base by height over 2. Since the base is 5, we're trying to find the height over 2, that'll be equal to 10, right? So something times 5 divided by 2 is 10, which means that this 5 by the height is equal to 20. So whatever you're multiplying, you have to get 20 in order to divide it by 2 to get 10. And that means that h has to be 4. And if you want to walk it back, you can check it and see if I have a base of 5 and a height of 4, 5 goes at 20, and when you divide by 2, you'll get the area of 10 that you want for your triangle. 39 and 40 refer to the following frequency distribution, which shows the average mass in kg of a group of children in school. The number of children who have a mass of at least 41 kg At least 41 kg means that you can be 41, but you have to be more than or equal to 41, right? So that would be this group here, this group, and this group. Please do not think that least means less. At least literally means the lowest you can go is 41, which means you have to be 41 and over. Right? So we added the 12 to the 8 and the 20. 8 and 2 is 10, 3 and 1, 4, and 2, 6 and 1 is 7. The lower limit of the modal class is what? The modal class is the mass group that has the highest frequency, which in this case is 51 to 60. So that means the lower limit is 51. Number 41, Mrs. Clark arranged the 15 test scores of her students in order of size and selected the eighth score for reporting purposes. Which of the following statistical measures did she obtain? If it's 15 scores, um, then the eighth score could never be the mean because the mean means you would have to add all 15 scores and divide by 15. It may not be the mode because we can't really tell the mode unless we actually see the raw data. The range has to be the difference between the first score and the last score. So the first score and the 15th score. The only thing that might make sense is the median, right? Now, if you have 15, um, if you have 15 pieces of data, which is 15 numbers, half of 15 is 7.5, right? So it means that the median will be between the 7th score and the 8th score. And in order for the 8th score to be chosen, it means the 7th and the 8th number is the same number, right? So you can have data where some of the numbers are repeated. And so once you put the 15 numbers in order and you choose the middle, which is supposed to be between the 7th and the 8th in the case of 15 numbers. No, it's not supposed to be between 7 and 8. Because if it's 15, then the 8th number is the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. You cross from the edges, right? Because I feel like my brain went to mush just now. So let me do a visual so that I don't tell you all the wrong thing. Right, so this is the middle score, right? Because it just clicked to me that 15 is an odd number. So 15 should only have one number in the middle, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the 8th score is the median, right? Now we gotta just choose the median and then we don't really have to go through this long thing because I knew it wasn't mean. I knew it wasn't the mode and I knew it wasn't the range. So it had to be the median. But again, this is just for the doubters. 15 or any other odd number of scores will only have one middle, not the 7th and the 8th, like I previously said. 7th and 8th would have been if it was 16 scores instead of 15. Okay, so that was my mistake. Right. So 42. The pie chart below shows how a student used 12 hours in studying English, math, French, and geography. The amount of time spent studying math is approximately what? So it's 12 hours, and the math sector is looking like a 90-degree sector. So that's why they say approximately, because they know it may not exactly be 90, but it's looks like 90. So it's approximately like a quarter of the 12 hours, which is 3. So that's 3 hours. $43. If the mean of 4 numbers, 4, 8, x, and 12 is 10, then x is what? All right, so 4 numbers, 4, 8, x, and 10. To find the mean, I would have to divide by 4, and then I would get 10. So it means that the total of my 4 numbers should be 40, because 40 divided by 4 is 10. So 4 and 8 is 12. Oops, wait, something wrong. 4, 8. Oops, I make a mistake. It's 4, 8, x and 12. 12, right? Over 4 equals 10, right? So we're still trying to get 40 as the total. So it means 4 and 8 is 12, and 12 is 24, plus some number is equal to 40. That means that x has to be 40 minus 24, which will give me 16. And you can walk it back. Add 4, 8, 16, and 12, and then divide by 4, and you will get 10. Or as a matter of fact, too, that could have been the working for this as well, because you could have just tried all the numbers in this space. You know that means sum of the numbers divided by number of numbers. So for each of the choices of this question, the 4, 10, 12, and 16, you could just add 4, 8. Well, 4 and 8 is 12, and 12 and 12 is 24. So you just have to take that 24 and then add each answer and see which one, when you divide it by 4, would give you 10. So for instance, you know that this plus this plus this is 24. So 24 plus 4 is 28. 28 divided by 4 is not 10. So this would have been out. 24 plus this is 34. Divided by 4 is not 10. So that is out. 24 again plus 12 is 36. Divided by 4 is not 10. And then 16, 24 plus 16 is 40 divided by 4 is 10. So you could have done it that way as well. All right. Item 44 refers to the following table, which shows the responses of 100 persons from 2 ethnic groups, P and R, to a survey about their attitude towards maths. A respondent selected at random a respondent is selected at random. What is the probability that the selected respondent is of ethnicity P and has a positive attitude towards math? All right, so this 25 means ethnicities P and positive. This means ethnicities R with a positive attitude. This means attitude is neutral, ethnicity P, attitude neutral, ethnicity R. Attitude negative, ethnicity P, attitude negative, ethnicity R, and then you have your totals. So what they're asking is, what is the probability that the selected respondent is of ethnicity P and has a positive attitude? So P and positive is 25, right? There are 100 persons in the survey. So 25 over 100 is, well, it's a quarter. But in this case, we have the answer as decimal, so it's really 0.25. $45. Which of the following best describes a function? A function is either 1-to-1 or many-to-1, meaning that everything on the left must only have one partner on the right. You can have more than one on the left going to one on the right, but never the other way around. So watch this, right? One going to one. Now this one is going to this one here, but it's also going to this. So that means that the left has more than one partner. So this is not a function. B has the left has one partner on the right. This has one partner. This has one partner. So this is the answer. Right? I'm going to go through C and D to show you that those are not the answers. This one has just one partner going to everybody there. That is not one to one or many to one. Right? In order for it to be a function too, these have to have partners. Each one has to have a partner at least, right? And then this is one to one. This going to one here. So these two arrows here shows you what a many to one means, right? It is this person having one partner and this person having one partner, but this ends up out of the race because this person here has two partners on this side. So this would have been out and this would have been out. It's almost like this just literally came to my mind. For it to be a function, you have to only have one partner, or you could be sharing a partner, right? But you, so right, so it's like you are in the left circle, you and your friends are in the left circle, and all of you have one partner, and each of you has one partner, sorry. But any one of you can have more than one. No, sorry. Any one of you can share the same partner, but you cannot individually have more than one partner. So you and your friend could share one person, but you can't have more than one. Yeah, and all like that kind of bacchanal. But yeah, that's basically what the function is one on the left having one partner on the right. Right? Even if it means sharing that partner. Right? So let's move on. Let's come on the bacchanal question and let's go on. Item 46 and 47. The point where the straight line AB crosses the horizontal axis is, okay, so AB is crossing the horizontal axis by B, and this point is 3, 0. Remember, when the point on the x-axis itself, this number will form the x coordinate, and then 0 will be a y. If, just as a reminder, if they wanted coordinate A, then it would be, you remember this would be where it cuts on the y-axis, so the y value would be negative and the x value would be 0, right? That's just in case. But this is item 46 and 47, so let's see what's 47 asking us. The equation of the straight line is what? All right, so they didn't make it easy for us because all of these equations end with -2, and rightfully so because -2 is the y-intercept. -2 is c. Right? Remember, the equation of a straight line is y equal mx plus c, and c is where the line cuts the y-axis. So c in this case is -2, and all our options have -2. So we have no choice here but to find the gradient. So we use 0 and -2. And we using 3 and 0. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Remember, I told you all for paper 2 when I'm already doing this and not to find gradient. Just take away your Y's and take away your X's. Make sure you do it in the same order. So 0 take away -2 over 3 take away 0. So this will give you 2 over 3. So you're looking for 2/3 X minus 2. Number 48 refers to the following graph of a quadratic function. The coordinates of the maximum point of the function y equal 4x minus x squared is, your maximum point is right here. So your coordinates are 2, 4. '49, the equation of the axis of symmetry, right? So if your maximum point is 2, 4, then your axis of symmetry will go straight through your maximum point, and this line is the line x is equal to 2, because it passes through 2 on the x-axis. '50, you're in the home stretch. If g of x is 7x minus 3, then g inverse of 2 is what? Whoa. There's a way to do this without going through all the color below of finding the inverse. That is not coming to my mind right now. But let me try something here. Let me try finding g of x instead of g inverse of x. So g of x is 7 by negative 2 minus 3 over 5. That'll give me negative 14 minus 3 over 5, which is negative 17 over 5, which obviously is an answer because they want to trick you, right? And that have no connection to the actual answer because I'm not seeing any connection, so that would not work. I'm trying to avoid doing the actual finding of the inverse. And I know there's a way, but it's not coming to my mind right now. So what we're going to do is we're still not going to find the inverse. We're going to do something else here. All right, so what I'm going to do, instead of going through the finding of the inverse, I'm just going to invert all the operations. So in g of x, and this is like a kind of a shortcut to do inverse when the function not too complicated. So if g of g inverse, sorry, if g of x is 7x minus 3 over 5, right? This is what is currently happening. You have an x value, you're multiplying it by 7, you're taking away 3, and then you're dividing the answer by 5, right? So we are going to go in reverse, and every reverse that we do, we are going to do the opposite, right? So we're starting from here. We're going to multiply by 5, add 3, and then divide by 7. So your function, your inverse function, will be 5x plus 3 divided by 7. Right? So now g inverse of negative 2 will be 5 by negative 2 plus 3 over 7. 5 by negative 2 is negative 10 plus 3 over 7. That will give me negative 7 over 7, which is negative 1. $51. Our parking lot charges $1 plus 25 cents for every hour or part thereof in which a vehicle is parked. The function C of H that represents the parking cost is what? Okay, so C of H, if that is the name of the function, it means that you are going to pay $1 flat plus 0.25 by every hour that you stay in the parking lot. So the 25 cents is going to be multiplied by how much ever hours you stay in the parking lot. So you're looking for 0.25 each. So this will be out, and this will be out. Then you're looking for the part. Let's see. The range of f of x. Well, this is another way of saying f of x is equal to x cubed. For the domain -2 to 2, is what? So basically, if f of x is x cubed and your domain, which is your x values, are -1, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, what would be your y values? So this is your y values, this is your x values. So for each x value, what would your y be? So this would be like -2 cubed, -1 cubed, 0 cubed, 1 cubed, 2 cubed. So -2 cubed is -8, and the only answer that has -8 in this is D. If the sum of the interior angles of a polygon is 4 right angles, then the polygon is a quadrilateral. 4 right angles is 90 degrees by 4, that's 360. So if the internal sum of the angles in a polygon, what is going on here? Is 360, then you're dealing with a quadrilateral. 54 in the right angle triangle above, which trigonometric ratio is equal to 4/8? The trig ratios are in your formula sheet as well. Sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Cos is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Tan is equal to opposite over adjacent. So we're referring to something that is 4/8. Now in relation to x, 4 is opposite, 8 is your hypotenuse, which is opposite the box. So opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So sine x is 4/8. We have to look and see if sine x is one of the answers. And yes, it is. It is A. And just for extra reference, in terms of y, 8 is still the hypotenuse, but 4 is the adjacent. So the only other option that you would have had for 4/8 would have been cos of y, which is not there. 55 and a triangle above x is what? Okay, so this is 30 plus 30 is 60, from 180 is 120. Remember that the sum of the angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. 56. Item 56 refers to the following pair of similar triangles. The length of MO is what? Where's MO? So MO is here. If it is similar, it means that the lengths are proportional. So that means that if this is 3 and this is 6, that all the lengths of the bigger triangle are 2 times the length of the smaller one, because 3 into 6 is 2. So that if this is 7, then this has to be 3.5, right? Because remember, this times 2 will give us this in terms of the length. So MO has to be 3.5. 57. In the diagram, the translation by which AB is mapped onto A prime, B prime is represented by what? Well, you could either take A prime and subtract A, or take B prime and subtract B. You're supposed to get the same answer either way. So let's just do A. 4, 6, take away 2, 5 is 2 and 1. So that's your answer. if something is being translated, then you want to know what the translation is, you just subtract the corresponding points. 58. OA, A prime, OB, B prime, and OC, C prime are straight lines. Triangle ABC is mapped onto triangle A prime, B prime, C prime by an enlargement with center O. What is the scale factor of the enlargement? The scale factor is simple to see if you can like compare lengths or distances, right? So look at A to C. A to C is 2 centimeter blocks. A prime to C prime is 4 centimeter blocks. B to C is 1 block. B prime to C prime is 2 blocks. So from those two comparisons, you could see that the scale factor is 2. $59. If F, the following diagram, sorry, it refers to the following diagram, which shows that the angle of depression of a point G from E is 30 degrees. If F is 25 meters away from E, then the distance FG is what? Okay, so if he has 30, then he has also 30 because of something called Z angles, which are also, well, we know most teachers call it Z angles, but the proper name for it is alternate, right? They form like they are found in Z's, whether the Z is a right side, correctly written Z or back to front Z or upside down Z, it doesn't matter. So here's also 30, and in terms of what this would be, here is the opposite, and the FG that they want is the adjacent. So here's opposite and here's adjacent. So that is automatically tan. So tan of 30 is equal to the opposite over FG. And if you cross multiply this, FG times tan 30 will be equal to 25 by 1, which is 25, because according to the diagonal multiplication, they're doing FG by tan 30 and 25 by 1. So what they want FG. So FG is going to be equal to 25 divided by tan of 30. So the answer is E. The last one. Item 60 refers to the following diagram of a building. A surveyor sets up his instruments 12 meters from the foot of a building and records the angle of elevation at the top of the building. An estimate of the height of the building can be obtained by calculating, right? So what's the height of this building, right? Now the right angle triangle starts from here, right? So if you find the height of the triangle by using the 12 tan 40, because you realize, well, before we even do, right, we have to use tan because tan is the only one with opposite and adjacent, and it doesn't include hypotenuse. It's the only ratio that doesn't have hypotenuse in it. So once the hypotenuse is not involved, we're not using anything other than tan. So D is out and B is out. So if you want the height of the building, you have to find the height of the triangle and then add the height of the man, right? So you're looking for 12 tan 40, right? Plus the 1.6. Yeah. Because you're not going to take away 1.6, you're going to add it. 12 tan 40 is what will give you the height of the triangle. And you have to add in the height to get the total height of the building. That's the end of this paper.